Alright guys, now Gareth Southgate announced his England squad for the upcoming Nations League games against Italy and Germany, and I just thought I'd make a video today going through basically the squad I would have picked. So it's a 28-man squad he's picked. He has made one change just now, actually. Jordan Henderson has come into the squad for Calvin Phillips. Jordan Henderson was initially thought to be injured. He's returned quicker than they thought he would. And Calvin Phillips has picked up a shoulder injury, so he is withdrawn from the squad. So I've made a couple of adaptations in the past 5 minutes just to account for that. So yeah, here's my squad. So I've picked three goalkeepers. I think the goalkeepers are fairly straightforward with Jordan Pickford being injured. So I've gone with Aaron Ramsdale, Dean Henderson and Nick Pope. That's exactly what Southgate's gone with. I think it's fairly straightforward. They're three goalkeepers who are playing every game at the moment for their clubs. The only other goalkeepers I could even think of that would get considered were Sam Johnston, who isn't getting game time at the moment. So yeah, it's these three really. It's fairly easy. And then I've picked five centre backs. I've gone with Fikayo Tomori. For me, he was one of the first names on the team sheet here. He is the only centre back England have got at the moment who I believe is really playing at a top level. Maybe that's a bit harsh actually on a couple of others. John Stones is playing really well for Man City at the moment. Obviously, throughout his time at Man City, he's been in and out of the starting 11. At the moment, he's very much in it. So I think he definitely deserves a place in the England squad. I've picked Conor Coady as well. He has done really well since leaving Wolves on loan to go to Everton and has massively improved their back line. So I think he has to be in the squad, as well as all the talk about how important he is to the squad, even if he isn't playing. You know, he's a voice in the dressing room, and when he's on the pitch, he's 100% an organiser of that defence. Now, Gareth Southgate picked Harry Maguire and Mark Guehi as centre-backs as well. I've chosen to leave both of them out. And the reason for that is that I just think Ben White, the fact that he's been left out to me is ridiculous. Even if he's been playing slightly out of position for Arsenal so far this season, he's still played very well for them. So for me, he 100% deserves a place in the team, as well as having a really good season last year. And I've also gone with Lewis Dunk. I haven't heard anybody mention that he hasn't been picked for England, but for me, he's been superb for Brighton so far this season. Brighton have done really well. They're the only team in the top six right now, I believe, or Fulham might be actually, but they're the only team who look like challenging for a European space that aren't in the so-called Big Six. So for me, I 100% think he deserves a place. And the reason I haven't picked Maguire is he's not playing, and when he is, he's not on form at all. And Mark Guehi, for me, misses out purely because I think there's other players who are playing better than him right now. I don't think he's put too many feet wrong, if that is a saying. But I just think that it's unfortunate that there are other players playing better than him is the reason I've picked him. I'm sure he's not so upset about that, given that he has actually been picked for the real England squad, and none of this video actually matters at all. So yeah, I've picked some fullbacks as well. I've gone with three fullbacks and three right backs and a couple of left backs. So the three right backs I've gone with are Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kieran Trippier. Now, this obviously means that Kyle Walker misses out, and the reason for that is I just don't see the point, because I understand why Southgate picks him, because his role in the England team isn't as a right back, it's more of a third centre back on the right side of the back three. If I was the England manager, I wouldn't be playing a back three, I'd be playing a back four. So I've picked three attack-minded right backs in Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James and Kieran Trippier. And I just think they'd be more suited to the way I'd play than Kyle Walker. And then I've picked two left backs. Now, Southgate went with Ben Chilwell and Luke Shaw as his two left backs. I've gone with Ben Chilwell, and I've also picked Kyle Walker-Peters because for me he has been one of Southampton's best players throughout the past couple of seasons and has made a really good start to this season. Southampton have been a bit of a hit and miss side so far this season. They've had some really good games and they've had a couple of really poor games, like the game against Aston Villa the other night. But I think in every game I've seen them play, Kyle Walker-Peters has played really well. So I think even if he's playing slightly out of position at left back, he's more than capable of playing there. He's played there a lot for Southampton, especially last season when they had Livramento at right back. I've picked him as sort of an understudy to Ben Chilwell in my team. Then we'll move on to midfield. So I've sort of cheated a little bit here. I was struggling for sitting midfielders here. I've picked Declan Rice and Jordan. I've drafted Jordan Henderson in for Calvin Phillips now. I also wanted to pick someone who could sort of cover a couple of roles. So I've picked Eric Dyer, as he can cover centre back and also he can do a job in midfield if needed. So I've picked him. And also he's playing ridiculously well for Spurs at the moment, the best he's played in years. And then as sort of number 8 in midfield options, I intend, if I was an England manager, to play 4-3-3. I think that's the formation that would suit the players we've got right now. So as midfielders, I picked Mason Mount. Even though he's not had a great start to the season, he still deserves a place in the England team. He's still not even played that badly for what I've seen of him. He's not set the world alight, but he's not played badly. James Ward-Prowse, again, he's had a reasonably good start to the season for Southampton, so should keep his place. Jude Bellingham absolutely has to be in there. He's doing brilliantly for Borussia Dortmund right now. No reason why he shouldn't be in there. And I was struggling. I've picked Jack Grealish as well. He sort of covers a couple of positions. He can play as part of the front three, but I think he's probably best played in midfield right now on the left of the three. And then the final midfielder I've picked, I was struggling a little bit because I don't think England have that many great number 8 options in midfield, or players who aren't a sitting midfielder but also, you know what I mean. So I've gone with James Maddison because I think even though Leicester have been really poor so far this season, I think he's actually been quite good. He scored a few goals and he was on really good form at the back end of last season. So I think he would probably deserve a call up. I know Southgate hasn't called him up. So what I've effectively done here is he's sort of taken Kyle Walker's place in the team because the way Southgate plays, obviously needs an extra defender in the squad. So I've gone with an extra midfielder, so he's sort of replaced Kyle Walker. And then we get into the attacking options, so the front line. So as I've already said, Jack Grealish I've picked, so he sort of covers a few positions. But as strikers, I've gone with Harry Kane. It goes without saying, he is the first name on the England team sheet right now. He's the captain, obviously. And then as sort of backups to Harry Kane, I've gone with Tammy Abraham, still doing really well in Rome. Did really well last season and has a good start to this season. And then also Ivan Toney, Southgate's called him up for the first time. I've picked him as well. He's doing absolutely superb for Brentford. He's scored 5 goals, I think, so far this season in the Premier League, which is a good return. Got a hat-trick against Leeds. So yeah, he should definitely be in the England squad, in my opinion. And even besides goal scoring, he offers a lot to the team. Something slightly different to Kane and Tammy Abraham. And then on the sort of like wing positions, I've picked 4 wingers. I've gone with Bukayo Saka again. Good start to the season with Arsenal. Although he's sort of drifted out of the limelight a little bit for Arsenal. He was sort of like the star man for Arsenal a lot of the time last season. I think that's sort of drifted away from him and gone on to maybe gone on to Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus and Odegaard a little bit more. He's still playing very well for Arsenal. That right-hand side spot on Arsenal's team is nailed down for him, so I've had to pick him. Phil Foden, again, hasn't had the most ridiculous start to the season for Man City, but still playing very well in a very good team, so he has to be in. And then Raheem Sterling, again, he's probably been one of Chelsea's best players this season. He's done quite well since coming into the team. So again, he should keep his place. And I mean, he was England's best player at the Euros last summer, so definitely has to be in. And then Southgate picked Jarrod Bowen. I've gone with Jadon Sancho instead of Jarrod Bowen because I think Bowen he's not been too bad for West Ham so far this season, but he's sort of suffering from what's happening around him, I think, because West Ham have brought in a lot of new players in attacking positions, in players like Gianluca Scamacca, Lucas Paqueta and Maxwell Cornet. So David Moyes is still very much trying to work out what the best team is, and I think that's sort of disrupted how Jarrod Bowen's playing at the moment. So also Jadon Sancho has played very well so far for United in the past month or so. So I've picked Jadon Sancho, but yeah. So that is my England squad. I think I've made 5 changes to what Southgate's picked. I've brought in Ben White, Lewis Dunk, Kyle Walker-Peters, James Maddison and Jadon Sancho, whereas Southgate had Harry Maguire, Mark Guehi, Luke Shaw, Kyle Walker and Jarrod Bowen. So I think Southgate has gone a little bit more towards players he feels he can trust and who have performed for England in the past. Like if we look at Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw and Kyle Walker, they all did very well at the Euros last summer. I've gone slightly more for players who are in form, in players like Ben White, Kyle Walker-Peters, Lewis Dunk, James Maddison and Jadon Sancho instead. So yeah, that's my England team. Comment down below what changes you think you'd make. And yeah, thanks for watching this video and come on England.